Dear student, today we will take seventeenth lecture for PH 5502. As you know, in the last lecture we have discussed about Raman effect and the experimental arrangement to obtain the Raman spectra. Okay. So once again I repeat what is the Raman effect. Okay. As we have discussed in the previous lecture, that in Raman spectra, okay, we have a Raman cube filled with a gas or liquid. We also discussed the experimental arrangement for Raman spectra, in which the experimental arrangement to study Raman spectra we have used one Raman cube of 15 cm long and 2 cm diameter. The one end of the Raman cube is a flat end and the other end of the Raman cube is drawn out in the shape of horn. Okay. The molecular sample gas or liquid is filled inside the Raman cube. Okay. Now let a strong beam of visible or ultraviolet light is passed through the Raman tube filled with the molecular sample gas or liquid. The light, some fraction of the light is scattered in different directions. Fraction of the light is scattered in different directions. Okay. So when a strong beam of visible or ultraviolet light, is passed through the Raman tube filled with a molecular sample of gas or liquid, the light photons are scattered by the gas or liquid molecules in different directions. So some fraction of the light is a small fraction of the light is scattered in all directions. So this is the scattered light. If you study the spectrum of scattered light, okay, it contains three types of lines. Okay. One line of the same frequency or same wavelength as that of the incident light, that is called a Rayleigh line or exciting line, having the same frequency or same wavelength as that of the incident light. Okay, the another types of line on one side of the Rayleigh line we get Stokes-Raman line, whose frequency is less than that of the Rayleigh line. Okay, and we also get anti-Stokes line, okay, and the frequency of the anti-Stokes line or wave number of the anti-Stokes line is higher than the wave number of Rayleigh line. So we have three types of lines. One line of the same frequency as that of the incident light, that is called the Rayleigh line or exciting line. The frequency, the lines of the low frequency, the lines on the low frequency side of the Rayleigh line or exciting line is called Stokes line, whose frequency is less than that frequency of incident light. that is called Stokes line. Wave number is also less than the relay line mu minus delta nu. And the lines on the higher frequency side of the relay line is called anti-Stokes line. Is wave number or is mu plus delta. So this is the spectrum of scattered light. This spectrum line is the relay line. Relay line or exciting line, okay, whose wave number is nu. Okay. This is the line on the low frequency side. It's called Stokes-Raman line. The wave number is mu minus delta nu. And the lines on the higher frequency side are called anti-Stokes line. Wave number is mu plus delta. Okay. So this is the spectrum. This is the spectrum of Raman. This is the Raman spectra of the scattered light, in which we get a relay line or exciting line with the same frequency as that of the incident light. That is called a relay line or exciting line having the same frequency or same wave number as that of the incident light. The lines on the low frequency side of the relay line is called Stokes line. Okay, so the frequency of Stokes line is less than the frequency of the relay line, that is nu minus delta nu. And the lines on the higher frequency side of the relay line, lines on the higher frequency side of the relay line are called anti-Stokes line. Okay, and the frequency or wave number of the relay line is nu. The wave number of the anti-Stokes line is nu plus delta. Okay, so you can see that wave number displacement. Wave number displacement here will be delta nu. Wave number displacement will be delta nu. Okay. We have also studied in the last lecture that if you change the source, if you use the another light source is used, the wave number displacement delta nu remains same. It is not going to change. Another light source with a different light spectrum is used. If another light source having a different light spectrum is used, then the wave number displacement delta nu is not going to change. The wave number displacement will remain same. If another light source having a different light spectrum is used, the wave number displacement delta nu remains same. It is not going to change. But if the scattering substance is changed, the molecular sample is changed, if the scattering substance is changed, then wave number displacement delta nu has different magnitudes. So if we use the different scattering substance, then wave number displacement delta nu will be different. So we have mentioned in the previous lecture that the Raman displacement delta nu is the characteristics of the scattering substance. Raman displacement delta nu is the characteristics of the scattering substance. Okay. Now, today we will give the theory for Raman effect. There are two types of explanation: classical explanation and quantum explanation. So, first of all, today we study the classical theory of Raman. So today we will give the classical explanation or classical theory of Raman effect. That why we are getting Rayleigh line, Stokes line having low frequency and anti-Stokes lines having higher frequency. Okay. So today we will give the classical explanation of the Raman effect. Next lecture we will study the quantum theory of the Raman effect. Okay. Now in this lecture, let us study the classical theory or classical explanation of Raman effect. That why we are getting Stokes line low frequency, Stokes line having low frequency and anti-Stokes line having higher frequency. Okay. Now, see when beam of visible or ultraviolet light, beam of visible or ultraviolet light, when the beam of visible or ultraviolet light is falling on the molecule. Suppose this is the molecule, this is the molecule. You know that molecule has a dipole, a positive charge and negative charge. So this is a dipole. This is the center of positive charge, center of negative charge. Okay. Now what happens? What happens? When a beam of visible or ultraviolet light falls upon the molecule, okay, the center of positive charge and negative charge are displaced relative to each other. The center of positive charge and negative charge are displaced relative to each other. And due to this, because the beam of visible or ultraviolet having a oscillating electric field. You studied in 11th class standard that what is the electric field of the incident light? The electric field of the incident light is equation is E0 sin omega t, right? So E is equal to E0 sin omega t. E is equal to E0 sin omega t is the oscillating electric field of the incident light. E0 sin omega t is the oscillating electric field of the incident light. When a beam of visible or ultraviolet light having oscillating electric field E0 sin omega t falls upon the molecule, okay, the center of positive charge and negative charge are separated, are displaced relative to each other. When center of positive charge and negative charges are displaced, what will happen? A dipole moment will be induced in the molecule. Okay? And the induction of the dipole moment is induced in the molecule. This phenomena is called polarization. This thing also you have studied at high school, 11th and 12th. Okay? So when a beam of visible or ultraviolet light falls upon the molecule, the center of positive charge and negative charge are displaced relative to each other. As a result, the molecule is polarized. The induced dipole moment will be produced in the molecule, right? And once the induced dipole moment is produced in the molecule, it will be able to give the spectra. Okay? So we mentioned this because this is the most important point. When a beam of visible or ultraviolet light, Okay, so when a beam of visible or ultraviolet light falls upon the molecule, This is very important. When beam of visible or ultraviolet light falls upon the molecule, then under the influence of oscillating electric field, and under the influence of oscillating electric field of light, center of positive and negative charges center of positive and negative charges are displaced relative to each other, are displaced right. Okay, so this is the most important thing. When a beam of visible or ultraviolet light, when a beam of visible or ultraviolet light falls upon the molecule, okay, then under the influence of oscillating electric field, this equation is E is equal to E0 sin omega t. Okay, then under the influence of oscillating electric field of incident light, E is equal to E0 sin omega t, the center of positive charge and negative charge are displaced. The center of positive charge and negative charge are displaced relative to each other, and therefore center of positive charge and negative charge are displaced relative to each other, producing, and when center of positive charge and negative charge are displaced relative to each other, okay, when center of positive charge and negative charge are displaced relative to each other, producing induced dipole moment in the molecule. So when center of positive charge and negative charge of the molecule are displaced, and center of positive charge and negative charge of the molecule are displaced relative to each other, that produces a induced dipole moment in the molecule. We can say that this phenomena of the induction of dipole moment in the molecule when you incident the light is called polarization. So we can say that molecule is now polarized. Okay, so the molecule is then said to be polarized. The molecule dipole moment is produced, is induced. Therefore, molecule is said to be polarized. Molecule is said to be polarized because the center of, okay, so what happened in this phenomenon? Beam of visible or ultraviolet, when the beam of visible or ultraviolet falls upon the molecule, the center of positive charge and negative charge of the molecule are displaced with each other. As a result, dipole moment is induced in the molecule. Okay, the induction of dipole moment in the molecule when incident the light wave, okay, is called polarization. Therefore, we can say that the molecule is now polarized. The molecule is said to be polarized. Now we write the equations. This is the incident light. You know very well that what is the electric field of the incident light? The electric field of the incident light is given by E is equal to 0 sin omega t. So I write that equation also. Next, the oscillating electric field, of incident light, oscillating electric field of the incident light wave, oscillating electric field of the incident light wave of frequency nu is given by okay, you have studied the equation of oscillating electric field, the oscillating electric field of the incident light wave, okay, the oscillating electric or varying electric field of the incident light wave, which is incident on the molecule having frequency is given by yes, E is equal to E0 sin omega t, right? So this is the equation. Of the oscillating electric field of the incident visible on the light on the molecule is given by E is equal to E0 sin omega t. E is the oscillating or changing varying electric field of the incident light. E0 is the maximum value of the electric field. Omega is equal to 2 pi d. Therefore, the oscillating electric field of the incident light is given by E0 sin omega is 2 pi nu t. What is nu here? Nu is the frequency of the incident light wave. So nu is the frequency of incident wave. So due to the, as we have explained, that due to the oscillating electric field of the incident light is equal to E0 sin 2 pi nu t. The oscillating electric field of the incident light is equal to E0 sin 2 pi nu t. The center of positive charge and negative charge of the molecule are displaced relative to each other. The center of positive charge and negative charge of the molecule are displaced relative to each other. As a result, the dipole moment is induced in the molecule. This phenomenon is called polarization. So we can say molecule is polarized. Now, what is the induced dipole moment in the molecule? So now we will write the equation for induced dipole moment in the molecule. So next, I write induced dipole moment. In the molecule P is directly proportional to the electric field of the incident light. And you must have studied this, that the induced dipole moment in a molecule P is directly proportional to the oscillating electric field of the incident light. The induced dipole moment in the molecule, okay? Because the center of positive charge when incident light, strong visible beam of visible ultraviolet light, and incident the strong beam of visible ultraviolet light falls upon the molecule, the oscillating electric field is equal to E0 sin 2 pi nu t of the incident light separates, okay, the positive center and negative center. So the result of the oscillating electric field of the incident beam is equal to E0 sin 2 pi nu t. The center of positive charge and negative charge are displaced relative to each other. As a result, dipole moment is induced in the molecule, and the induced dipole moment in the molecule is directly proportional to the oscillating electric field of the incident light. P is equal to, I put some constant alpha into, I think you must be able to, what is alpha? What is this alpha? Alpha is called what is alpha in this equation? Alpha is called polarizability of the molecule. Alpha is called polarizability of molecule. Alpha is called polarizability of the molecule. If you substitute the value E, you will get P P is equal to alpha. This is the constant for the polarization of the molecule, and the induced dipole moment of the molecule is directly proportional to oscillating electric field of the incident light. What is the oscillating electric field of the incident light? E is 0 sin 2 pi nu t. So this is the induced dipole moment in the molecule. This is the induced dipole moment in the molecule. Now this induced dipole moment of the molecule is not constant. It is variable because the molecule has two types of internal motion: vibrational motion and rotational motion. Right? The molecule has two internal motions. Now the molecule has two internal motions. As you know very well, the molecule has two types of motions: vibrational motion and rotational motion. So molecule has two internal motions, namely vibrational motion and rotational motion. So molecule has two internal motions. Molecule is possessing two types of internal motions: vibrational motion and rotational motion. And due to vibrational motion, the polarization of the molecule is going to change. Due to rotational motion, the polarization is also going to change. Okay. So due to the vibrational motion of the molecule, polarization is going to change, and due to vibrational motion of the molecule, polarization will also change. So that we mention here. As a result of these two motions, vibrational motions and rotational motion, as a result of these two motions, polarization of the molecule varies. Right? So as a result of vibrational motion of the molecule, polarization of the molecule is going to change, and as a result of rotational motion of the molecule, the polarization of the molecule is also going to change. Okay. So we discuss the changes in the polarization due to vibrational motion and rotational motion. So in the first case, we will study the variation in the polarization due to vibrational motion, right? So variation in polarization due to vibrational motion. Variation in polarizability of the molecule alpha due to the vibrational motion. So let us study the variation. In the polarizability of the molecule. Let us study the variation in the polarizability of the molecule due to the vibrational motion. So I am giving you how the polarizability is going to change, okay, with the vibrational motion of the molecule. The variation in the polarizability alpha of the molecule due to vibrational motion is given by alpha 0 nu plus alpha 0 nu plus alpha 1 nu sin 2 pi nu oscillating 2 pi nu oscillating into Try to understand the meaning of each and every term. Try to understand the meaning of each and every term. First of all, we see what is alpha. Alpha. Alpha is the variation in the polarity. Alpha is the variation or change in the polarity alpha of the molecule due to vibration motion of the molecule. Alpha 0 nu. Alpha 0 nu is a constant. Alpha 1 is also a constant. What is that? Be right. Okay. Sin 2 pi nu oscillating. What is nu oscillating? It is the vibrational frequency of the molecule. So I write that also. This nu oscillation is the vibrational frequency of molecule. Vibrational frequency of molecule. Vibrational frequency of molecule. Okay. So this new oscillation is the vibrational frequency of the molecule, and the change in polarity alpha of the molecule due to vibration motion of the molecule. The variation in the polarity alpha of the molecule due to vibration motion is defined by alpha 0 nu plus alpha 1 nu sin 2 pi nu oscillating. The new oscillation is the vibration frequency of the molecule. According to this equation, the polarity of the molecule is varying due to the vibrational motion of the molecule. Okay. Now we write what is alpha 0 nu. Alpha 0 nu is the value of polarity alpha in equilibrium position. What is alpha 0 nu? Alpha 0 nu is the value of polarity alpha in equilibrium position. And what is alpha 1 nu? Alpha 1 nu is the maximum change. Alpha 1 nu is the maximum change in polarity, during the vibration. So I have defined all the three terms in this equation. I have defined all the three terms in this equation. That alpha, what is alpha? Alpha is the variation in the polarity of the molecule due to vibration motion. Due to vibration motion of the molecule, the change in the polarity of the molecule due to vibration motion alpha is defined by alpha 0 nu plus alpha 1 nu sin 2 pi nu oscillation. Alpha 0 nu is the value of polarity alpha. Alpha 0 nu is the value of polarity alpha in the equilibrium position of the molecule. Alpha 1 nu is the maximum change in the polarity during the vibration. So alpha 1 nu is the maximum change in the polarity during the vibration. In simple harmonic oscillation, the maximum displacement is called amplitude. Okay? So maximum value of displacement is called amplitude. Here the maximum change in the polarity during its vibration is called alpha 1. Okay, when you write the equation E is equal to E0 sin omega t. What is E0? That is the maximum value of the electric field. So alpha 1 is the maximum change in the polarity during the vibrational motion of the molecule. And important thing is this. What is this? What is this new oscillation? New oscillation is the vibrational frequency of the molecule. Okay. Now you substitute this value in the polarity, you will get the induced dipole moment in the vibrating molecule. Now to calculate induced dipole moment in the molecule, next induced dipole moment in a vibrating molecule. Induced dipole moment in a vibrating molecule P. You know the equation of induced dipole moment due to vibrational motion. Due to vibrational motion of the molecule, the induced dipole moment in the molecule, vibrating molecule is alpha. As I told you, that induced dipole moment in the molecule is directly proportional to the oscillating electric field of the incident light. we have put some constant p is equal to alpha. Alpha is for the polarizability of the molecule, and E is the ascending relative field of the incident light. So P is equal to alpha is the polarizability of the molecule, and incident electric field of the oscillating electric field of the incident light is E0 sin 2 pi mu t. On this equation, we put the value of alpha. In this equation, we can put the value of alpha, right? So putting the value of alpha, in this equation, we get the induced dipole moment in a vibrating molecule. Induced dipole moment in a vibrating molecule is equal to alpha. What is the value of alpha? Okay. According to classical theory, variation in the polarity of the molecule to vibration motion is given by alpha 0 nu plus alpha 1 nu sin 2 pi mu oscillating into multiplied by E0 sin 2 pi mu. E0 sin 2 pi mu. Okay. So now you will get the induced dipole moment in a vibrating molecule. Induced dipole moment in a vibrating molecule P is equal to alpha 0 nu into E0 sin 2 pi mu t plus alpha 0 nu into E0 sin 2 pi mu t plus alpha 1 nu E0 sin 2 pi mu t into sin 2 pi mu oscillating mu t. Right? So induced dipole moment in a vibrating molecule P is equal to induced dipole moment in a vibrating molecule alpha 0 nu into E0 sin 2 pi mu t plus alpha 1 nu into E0 sin 2 pi mu oscillating mu t. Please remember what is nu here. This nu is the frequency of the incident beam. Nu is the frequency of the incident beam. This is the frequency of the incident beam, and nu oscillation is the frequency of the vibration motion of the molecule. So nu is the frequency of the incident light beam. Nu is the frequency of the incident light beam. And nu oscillation is the vibration frequency of the molecule. This is the vibration frequency of the molecule. Okay. Now if you solve this, you study one equation. S, this is sine S into S. You must have studied this equation. S into S is equal to 1 by 2 C minus. This type of equation, sine into sine is equal to 1 by 2 cos minus cos. In the first term, you have to take the subtraction of two terms. In the second term, you have to take the summation of two terms. So sine A into sine B, sine A into sine B is equal to 1 by 2 cos A minus B minus cos A plus B. If you use this trigonometric formula, you will get velocity P is the vibrating molecule. The induced dipole moment in a vibrating molecule. Let us calculate the induced dipole moment of a vibrating molecule is equal to, you will get alpha 0 nu E0 sin 2 pi mu t plus alpha 1 nu E0 into bracket. Now S means sin, we have to sin 2 pi mu t. S means we have sin 2 pi mu t. Another S means we have sin 2 pi mu oscillating mu t is equal to 1 by 2 cos A minus B. So that is 2 pi nu minus nu oscillation into T minus C means cos. We take the sum now. Sum of two terms 2 pi nu plus nu oscillation into T. So we get this type of equation. S means sine, we have sine 2 pi nu T. Another S means we have sine 2 pi nu oscillation into T is equal to 1 by 2. C means cos. Take the sum subtraction of two terms sine 2 pi nu T minus 2 pi nu oscillation into T. Then we take the summation of two terms. So minus cos 2 pi nu T plus 2 pi nu oscillating into T. Right? So final equation comes. The final equation will be P is equal to, the final equation will be P is equal to alpha 0 nu E0 sin 2 pi nu T plus 1 by 2 alpha 1 nu E0 cos 2 pi nu minus nu oscillating into T minus cos 2 pi nu plus nu oscillation into T. Okay. So the induced dipole moment of a vibrating molecule, P is alpha 0 nu E0 sin 2 pi nu T plus 1 by 2 alpha 1 nu E0 cos 2 pi minus nu minus nu oscillating into T minus cos 2 pi nu plus nu oscillating into T. So this is your final equation. Now this equation says that we get the vibrational lines in the frequency of the Rayleigh line of exciting line is new, then the frequency of the Stokes vibrational Raman line will be nu minus nu oscillation, and frequency of the anti-Stokes vibrational line will be nu plus nu oscillation. So what is delta nu is equal to nu oscillation. Okay. This equation says that if nu is the frequency of the exciting line, then nu minus nu oscillation is the frequency of the Stokes line, that is the vibrational line, and nu plus nu oscillation is the frequency of the anti-Stokes Raman line, right? So we can mention this also. That in the spectrum of scattered light, we obtain vibrational lines. Raman lines. At distances nu oscillation. Okay? The distance is nu oscillation on either side of Rayleigh line. Right? So the frequency of the Rayleigh line is new. The frequency of the Rayleigh line or exciting line is new. We get vibrational stroke line at distance nu oscillation on the left hand side of the exciting line. So the frequency of the vibrational stroke line will be nu minus nu oscillation, and we also get a vibrational anti-stroke line at distance is nu oscillation on the right hand side. So that the frequency of the anti-stroke vibration will be nu plus nu oscillation. So we get vibrational Raman lines. We get vibrational Raman lines at distance is nu oscillation on the left hand side, and the distance is nu oscillation on the right hand side. So the frequency of the vibrational stroke line will be nu minus nu oscillation, and frequency of the anti-stroke Raman line will be nu plus nu oscillation. So we get three lines: exciting line of the frequency nu, and we get two vibrational lines. Stokes vibrational Raman line at distance is nu oscillation on the left hand side, so that is frequency will be nu minus nu oscillation, and anti-stroke vibrational line at distance nu oscillation on the right hand side, so that this frequency will be nu plus nu oscillation. Similarly, we also get the rotational lines due to rotational motion of the molecule. These are depicted. So we have three lines. I have explained. This is the classical explanation of the Raman lines. We get a radial line or exciting line at frequency nu. The Stokes vibrational Stokes line, this frequency is nu minus nu oscillation. It is obtained at distance nu oscillation on the left hand side of the radial line. And we also get the vibrational anti-stroke line, whose frequency is nu plus nu oscillation, which is situated at distance nu oscillation on the right hand side. Now we discuss variation in the polarity due to the rotational motion. Okay? So variation in polarity due to rotational motion. We explain that polarizability is varying, polarizability is changing due to rotational motion of the molecule as well as vibrational motion of the molecule. We have discussed the variation in polarizability due to vibrational motion. Now let us discuss the second case. And how the polarizability of the molecule is varying due to rotational motion. So let us study the variation in the polarizability due to the rotational motion of the molecule is given by alpha is equal to alpha 0r plus alpha 1r sin 2 pi into 2 nu into t, right? So this equation gives the variation. This equation gives the variation in the polarizability of the molecule due to rotational motion of the molecule is defined by alpha is equal to alpha 0r plus alpha 1r sin 2 pi into 2 nu into t. Now we know very well what is mu naught. Mu naught is the rotational frequency of molecule. Rotational frequency of the molecule. The rotational frequency of the molecule. Next, what is alpha 0r? Alpha 0r is the average value of polarizity alpha. It is the average value of polarity alpha. What is alpha 1r? Alpha 1r is the maximum change in polarity during the rotational motion. Maximum change in alpha due to rotational motion during the rotational motion, right? I have defined all the three terms. Once again I repeat. Tell me what is alpha? What is alpha? Alpha is the variation in polarity of the molecule due to rotational motion of the molecule is defined by alpha 0r plus alpha 1r sin 2 by 2 nu. What is alpha 0r? That is the average value of polarity alpha. What is alpha 1r? That is the maximum change in the probability alpha due to the rotation. Alpha 1r is the maximum change in probability alpha due to the rotational motion, and alpha 0r is the average value of probability alpha of the molecule. Now this new rho is the rotational frequency of the molecule. Okay. Vibrational motion, the vibrational frequency of the molecule was mu oscillation, and the rotational frequency of the molecule is mu rho. Okay. Now we substitute this value of find the induced dipole. Right. So now we calculate induced dipole moment in a rotating molecule. Induced dipole moment in a rotating molecule. Therefore, induced dipole moment in a rotating molecule. Induced dipole moment in a rotating molecule. Let us calculate the induced dipole moment in the rotating molecule. P is equal to alpha I. Because you know very well that the induced dipole moment in a rotating molecule P is directly proportional to the oscillating electric field of the incident light beam. So constant is alpha, so P is equal to alpha I. Alpha is called the polarization of the molecule. Alpha is called the polarization of the molecule, and the oscillating electric field of the incident light is E0 sin 2 pi nu t. That what is nu? Nu is the frequency. Nu is the frequency of the incident light beam. Now in this equation we substitute the value of alpha. In this equation, substituting the value of alpha. So substituting value of alpha, we get induced dipole moment in the rotating molecule. We are calculating the induced dipole moment in the rotating molecule P. This is directly proportional to the oscillating electric field of the incident light beam. So P is equal to some constant alpha I. Alpha is called the polarization of the molecule, and oscillating electric field of the incident light is E0 sin 2 pi dt. Now the variation or change in the velocity of the molecule due to rotational motion is given by alpha 0r plus alpha 1r sin 2 pi 2 mu rho into t multiplied by E0 sin 2 pi nu t. Okay, here I have written 2 new rho because during one rotation of the molecule, there are two positions at 180 degree. There are two positions where the induced dipole moment of the molecule will remain same. Okay, there are two during one rotation. Two times we get two positions of the molecule where the dipole moment of the molecule remains same. This equation can be written as P is equal to alpha 0r E0 sin 2 pi nu t plus alpha 1r E0 sin 2 pi nu t into sin 2 pi 2 nu rho t. And nu rho is the rotational frequency of the molecule. So induced dipole moment in the rotating molecule, E is equal to alpha 0r into E0 sin 2 pi dt plus alpha 1r into E0 sin 2 pi nu t into sin 2 pi 2 nu rho t. Once again, you can use the formula. Sine into sine is defined as 1 by 2 c minus c. This is the technique. That sine into sine can be written as 1 by 2 c minus cos. The first cos you have to take the subtraction of these two terms. In the second cos you have to take the summation of these two terms. So the induced dipole moment in a rotating molecule P. Induced dipole moment in the rotating molecule P comes alpha 0r E0 sin 2 pi ut plus alpha 0 E0 sin 2 pi nu t plus 1 by 2 alpha 1 E0 into bracket C means cos. As I told you, in the first term we have to take the subtraction of these two terms. So cos 2 pi nu minus 2 nu rho into t minus cos 2 pi. The second cos we have to take summation of these two terms. So nu plus 2 nu rho into t. Right? So this is the final equation. This is the final equation of the polarizability. The final equation of the polarizability of the this is the final equation of the induced dipole moment in the rotating body. This is the final equation according to classical theory. This is the final equation of induced dipole moment in the rotating molecule is given by this equation. Now in this equation you can see there are three frequencies. One frequency is B. What is nu? Nu is the frequency of the exciting line or Stokes line. The other frequency is nu minus 2 nu rho. Nu minus 2 nu rho. Okay? That gives the Stokes line. Okay, and we get a anti-Stokes rotational line at which frequency nu plus 2 nu rho. So this is the explanation of three lines. That here we get a Rayleigh line or exciting line of the same frequency as that of the incident beam, that is nu. The frequency of the Stokes rotational line, right? In rotational motion, we also do line Stokes line, rotational line, and anti-Stokes rotational line. The frequency of Stokes rotational line is nu minus 2 nu rho, and frequency of the anti-Stokes rotational line is nu plus 2 nu rho. So we also write that. We also get, so what is the distance of Stokes line from the Rayleigh line? The distance of Stokes rotational line from the Rayleigh line will be 2 nu rho, and the distance of anti-Stokes line from the exciting line is also 2 nu rho. The frequency of Stokes rotational line will be nu minus 2 nu rho, which is less than the frequency of Rayleigh line, and frequency of the anti-Stokes line is nu plus 2 nu rho, right? Okay. So the frequency of Stokes rotational line is nu minus 2 nu rho, and frequency of anti-Stokes rotational line is nu plus 2 nu rho. So both the lines, Stokes rotational line and anti-Stokes rotational line, are obtained at distances 2 nu rho on either side of the Rayleigh line. So that we mention here. The rotational Raman lines. Are obtained at distances rotational lines are obtained at distances 2 nu rho on either side of Rayleigh line. Okay, so we get rotational Raman lines at distances 2 nu rho on either side of the Rayleigh line. We get Stokes rotational line at frequency 2 nu minus 2 nu rho, and we get anti-Stokes rotational line at frequency nu plus 2 nu. So Stokes rotational line and anti-Stokes rotational line obtained distance is 2 nu on either side of the Rayleigh line having frequency nu. Okay. So this is the explanation. This is the explanation of the classical theory of the Raman effect. Okay. So it is not necessary that the molecule has the permanent dipole moment to get the Raman effect. Also mention that classical explanation. From the classical explanation, it is clear that molecules do not have a. It's clear that molecule did not have a molecule did not have a permanent dipole moment for its Raman spectra it's clear that molecule did not have a permanent dipole moment. That you know very well in case of rotational spectra and vibrational spectra, molecule must have permanent dipole moment. But for Raman spectra, it is clear that molecule did not have a permanent dipole moment for its Raman spectra to appear. Okay, and finally, means the homonuclear molecule, right? H2O2 N2 also show the Raman spectra. Okay, that we also mention that besides molecules like HCl, the homonuclear molecule like H2O2 N2 besides the molecule heteronuclear molecule like HCl, the homonuclear molecule like H2N2O2 also show Raman spectra. Also show Raman spectra. But please remember this H2O2 and 2 molecules are not giving the rotational spectra or vibrational spectra. This homonuclear molecule like H2O2 and 2 are not giving vibrational spectra or rotational spectra, but they give the Raman spectra because of the induced dipole moment in the molecule when incident a development. Dipole moment is induced in the molecule, as a result it will get the Raman spectra. Now finally we end with two limitations of the classical theory. Okay, classical explanation of Raman effect. Classical explanation of Raman spectra has two limitations, or you can say two disturbances. Classical explanation of Raman effect has two limitations. Classical explanation of Raman effect has two disturbances. Or two limitations. What are the two limitations of classical theory that we discuss and then we stop? There are classical explanation of classical theory of Raman effect has two limitations or two disturbances. Number one, the first limitation or first disturbance of classical theory of Raman effect is this: according to classical theory, according to classical theory, what classical theory says? Classical theory says that according to classical theory, the intensity of Stokes line and anti-Stokes line must be same. But if you study the Stokes intensity of Stokes line and anti-Stokes line, it is observed that the anti-Stokes line is weaker in intensity. Anti-Stokes line is weaker in intensity. Actually, according to classical theory, the intensity of Stokes line and anti-Stokes line must be same. But if you study this, you will get that the intensity of Stokes anti-Stokes line is weak compared to the intensity of Stokes line. Intensity of anti-Stokes line will be weak compared to the intensity of Stokes line. So that is the first elimination which is not explained. It is not explained on the basis of classical theory. It is not explained on the basis of classical theory. So I write first limitation. According to classical theory, according to classical theory, the Raman lines on the two sides, Raman lines on the two sides of the Rayleigh line means Stokes line and anti-Stokes line. Raman lines means Stokes Raman line and anti-Stokes lines appearing on both sides of the Rayleigh line must be of same intensity. That classical mechanics says. According to classical theory, the Stokes Raman line and anti-Stokes Raman line appearing on both sides of the Rayleigh line must be having the same intensity, but it is not like that. The intensity of Stokes line is more and intensity of anti-Stokes line is big. Okay, so we mentioned that limitations. Actually, the intensity of Raman lines on high frequency side is, what is the name of Raman lines on the high frequency line on the sides? That is anti-Stokes line. Intensity of the Raman lines on the higher frequency side, that is the intensity of the anti-Stokes lines, are too weak to be observed. Okay? So intensity of Stokes line is more, but the intensity of high frequency lines, that is known as anti-Stokes Raman lines, is big. So this is the limitations of classical theory, which cannot be explained on the basis of classical theory. Why the intensity of anti-Stokes Raman line having high frequency is weak compared to the intensity of Stokes line. And classical theory says the intensity of Stokes line and anti-Stokes line must be same. But actually, the intensity of anti-Stokes line having high frequency is very, very low compared to the intensity of Stokes line. So this is not explained on the basis of classical theory. And second limitation is this. Second limitation of the classical theory, that the rotational frequency nu rot can take any value. According to classical theory, rotational frequency can take any value. If rotational frequency can take any value, then rotational spectrum must be continuous. Here we are not getting the continuous rotational spectrum. So that is the second limitation which cannot be explained on the classical theory. Okay. So the rotational frequency nu rot classically can take any value. So I write the second limitation. Classically rotational frequency can classically take any value. Rotational frequency classically can take any value. Therefore, classically, rotational Raman spectra must be continuous. According to classically the rotational frequency of the molecule can take any value. Therefore, the rotational Raman spectra must be continuous on either side of the Rayleigh line. Right? This is also contradictory observation. This is also contradictory. This is the contradiction to the observation that actually classical theory says that the rotational Raman spectra should be continuous on either side of the Rayleigh line or exciting line, but actually the rotational Raman spectra is not continuous, so that is the contradiction to the observation. Okay, so these are the two limitations of the classical theory. Okay, next lecture we will study the quantum explanation, quantum theory of the Raman spectra. Thank you so much. We stop here.
Suppose FYBSC I get to mass. So I'm discussing this mass. So I have to go number as what is the number of mass. Then again I will go back to my original.